This is a Three Wise Guys podcast. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Liam.
You had to ruin it.
This is a show about current events, history from the past, and everything in between. Guys, we done it. We're here, episode one.
Finally. It
After
took a
month.
little while. It took a near-death experience in a car crash, but we made it. And took a trip to Florida, took a move from Chicago down to Louisville, took all kinds of things, but we finally got there. I was just thinking about that. We are all living in the Villes now. Yeah. Think about that. Summer, Louis, and the wind cried, Mary, Mary. Yeah. I had, it was like, it was coming to, it was coming to this summer, Louis, and then I have to say Mary. I can't do it. So I had to break it up with a little Hendrix intro to the Mary. Make it cool. Pretty cool.
I got an ominous text at like 10 p.m. a few nights ago
Yeah.
saying, son, I had a near-death experience. I need to talk to you about it.
That's like the
Yeah.
worst possible intro.
And I said,
no other information.
Are you alive?
and my response was, we'll save it for the podcast. And Jeff's like, I won't tell anybody. Yeah. So here it is. I was turning onto our road that leads to our subdivision, and our road is like one of those country, curvy, hilly roads, and it curves and everything. Well, I had just got on it, and I'm approaching the first hill, so you can't see over the hill for cars coming at you, right? Well, next thing I know, there's not only a car coming at me, it's airborne. So according to the neighbors after the fact, he was doing at least 70, and one guy said probably 100. And so the dude was airborne, and he jumped over the hill, and at the bottom of the hill it curves back. So he ends up in my lane head on with me. And so he's flying, right? Just smoking. So honestly, I don't even remember thinking, but I turned the wheel, got into the grass, and I'm bouncing around, and I swung back, and I still went down about 300 feet. And I'm like, okay. And then, as I'm going down 300 feet, right, I look at my side mirror. I see the guy. So when he hit, in the air, he saw me. Because when he hit, thankfully he hit before my truck. I went like this way, and he was coming at me, and then he turned, as soon as he hit, he turned his truck. So I'm telling you, we came within millimeters of hitting it, and I still to this day cannot believe we didn't touch vehicles, like smash. But it was just right, And then he swung at me and then turned all the way around, and he turned all the way around, and then there was a ditch that was about 7 foot tall, because the house went up the hill. So he goes backwards into the ditch, and I'm looking at my side mirror. I see his car blow up. It goes straight up in the air. There's pieces flying everywhere. And then he bounces off that ditch back 2 lanes over to the other side of the road, flipping about 4 times in the air. So, and this is like one of the low, like a Camaro style cars, although I couldn't identify it afterwards. So I'd go in the driveway, I turn around, I go racing back to see if he's dead or alive. And then there's people running like crazy. So, so I guess there was a couple people out and saw it, because we were watching, because this guy was doing 70 at least, and then the other guy said I think it was more like 100, and then we saw, he almost hit, but then he lands, flips over on the other side, and then I go back, I get out, and I'm walking up to the car, right, and I'm almost there, and I'm like right there by the car, and another lady beat me over there, and then there's a kid like 21, 20, I don't know, 19. He comes crawling out and just rolls onto his back in the grass, and then I'm like, well, he's alive. I can't believe it. The car was in smithereens, just gone.
Yeah.
So he gets out and he's like, there was a white truck in my lane. I'm like, oh no. I turn around and walk right back. I'm done with this. No,
Hit and run.
I was not in his lane. He's airborne doing 100, right? I'm the problem. I'm the problem. Okay. Yeah, all right. all these neighbors here. I don't even have to be here. All the neighbors are gonna tell them what happened exactly. I didn't have to be there because I wasn't in an accident. I avoided one, but I wasn't in one.
I like that his
Well,
like dying breath was to like avoid accountability. Those were like his last words. Someone,
Yeah, I give the guy credit. He crawled out. He still had the frame of mind to actually come up with some BS.
So what happened after that? Do you know any details?
I'm out of deets. I didn't even take any pics. There's one guy like this is where we're at in the world. I'm going to the car. There's a guy next to me. He's running. He catches me and passes me with the phone. He's filming everything. I'm like, oh my god. I mean, what?
immediately there's a
When you-
person with a phone.
I think he thought he was gonna get to the car and like find pieces, like, and you're gonna film it and like what? Put it on TikTok or something? Jesus, unbelievable. I don't know. It's unbelievable. And the weird thing is like usually when something like that happens, like you're like you kind of go into shock. You kind of heart skips a beat and all that stuff. I didn't have any of it. I don't know if I was in shock or what. I had turned so fast and not even thinking about it, and turned back. And I just went back to see if he was alive. But other than that, like, I mean, I'm like, I feel like my heart should be beating. It's not. I don't know. Maybe it was shock or something initially. I don't know. But I mean, you don't like if I'd have had a dash cam and a rear cam, dude,
Yeah.
I'd have had 1 million hits in a minute. I'd be a YouTube star. Next thing you know, I'll be showing how to put on makeup.
Trying to get in almost car accidents.
Yeah. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, that was my near-death experience. It was scary, man, because it was so quick. Like I just saw this guy being launched at me, and then thankfully he hit the ground before me and not like landed on me or anything, you know. But I mean, yeah, it was crazy.
And that road is insane. It's barely even 2 lanes. You can barely stay on the road with another car.
Yeah, it's curvy. It's one of them country roads, but I kind of like it. It kind of adds to the mystique of it all, you know. You come down, you pass a few a trailer park, some nice houses, trailers and nice houses, and then you got all these nice houses along the way, and you got a field where all the cows are at. Kind of sets the tone. You come up the hill, down the hill, then you turn into our subdivision. It's on a little bit of a hill. We're in the back, and we got really the prime one of the whole place because we got the trees and everything behind us, and we got a farmer's field way out there. And so we don't see any houses. It's great. Yeah, it's nice,
Crazy.
but it was crazy. Is right because my life passed before my eyes, truly. Because it's just in that you got a nanosecond you're dealing with, but so many things go through your mind. It's unbelievable how much you can fit in a nanosecond. When you're in that position, it's crazy.
Yep. And after all that near-death experience, everything, your reaction was like, this guy. Here we go. Here we go.
I was there to help, and then he throws me under the bus, literally. and he's like putting it in reverse and drive. Reverse and drive. He's gonna run the bus over me a few times. I'm like, I ain't sticking around for that. The bus hits me, I get the message. I'm leaving. So yeah, I didn't want that guy to have my name because he, who knows? Might try to come back at me or something. I don't know. Nuts. Anyway, Liam, you settled in now? Your new place?
I'm settled in. I'm kind of delaying the last box. I've seen too many boxes the last couple days, but I like this place a lot, man. It's quiet. It's got some nice rain going on right now. It's pretty soothing. It's different from the concrete craziness in Chicago. I like it.
Yeah, because you were in that area where it was just house upon house upon house,
Yeah.
Concrete jungle.
Yeah, stacked on top of each other.
Yeah. So now you got a suburb like Jeff and I are used to growing up in, like a little more quiet, a lot more quiet and subdued. But you still got what, you 15, 20 minutes from downtown Louisville, so it's nice.
Yeah, it's 15. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not used to how quiet it is, but I'm adjusting. I'm also adjusting, not having a roommate. That's like totally different,
Yeah.
whole different ballgame. Like everything's like
Yeah, it
you.
is. Yeah, no, that's true.
You know,
Yeah, I kind of liked it, but yeah, it's different for sure.
Yeah, there's
But
pros and cons to living by yourself and living with a roommate. Sure. I had a good time having roommates and I had a great time living by myself. I don't know, it's tough. They're just so different. It's tough to figure out which one's better, but
yeah, for sure.
so far, this is I think in terms of like general upkeep and like taking care of myself, this is like much better. I think it's the idea of like if you don't do this, like nobody's going to, like you're screwed. So
Yeah.
it kind of keeps me honest. So I'm taking care of the apartment a lot more. Our last place was not good. It was terrible.
Well, it helps. You got a dishwasher, you got a washer and dryer, so anything dirty goes in the dishwasher right away, right? You can throw your clothes in.
Yeah. I mean, my washer
Hamper.
is my hamper at this point.
Yeah, there you go.
It's pretty
That
nice.
works. And guys, we don't separate colors and
That's my wife.
cottons.
That's my
Like
wife.
for me, it gets too complex. It's a cotton, okay? A cotton could be anything. It could be something that's a color. It could be like not a color. It could be like a blanket, like. But then they have although like there's too many words going on, too many notches you could turn. I mean, are they really different, or are they trying to make people look cool? Like, oh,
no,
I know how.
it's big laundry trying to get you to spend more money on whatever they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I'd rather ruin all my clothes and try to figure out what's supposed to be different and separate or what knob I'm supposed to turn.
Yeah, yeah, big laundry corporations. You're right. So yeah, they sell you more. It costs more for more bells and whistles, and the bells and whistles they give you extra, you don't need them. For me, it's like, do I want it the temperature hot, warm, or cold? And really, I'm going with hot or cold. But I mean, that's it. Like if it's, I don't know. That's all I got. But I mean, the settings on the other part. I mean, come on, those are. I would have been doing. What are we doing?
Then you got detergent, softeners, anti-wrinkle stuff. You got dryer sheets.
Yeah, it keeps going.
Not that long ago, we were washing clothes in like a river, like
And a
accordion.
little board. Yeah, washboard.
Right.
Yeah.
Washing.
I know, and people were happy with it. They they had a set of washers and dryers. They had the washing board and a line made out of ivy. The ivy line, probably one tree to the other. They could hang their stuff. That was the dryer, and they were happy with it.
They're happy to have it. All right.
There's no way this comes out clean. There's no shot. Probably like 10% less smelly.
Yeah. Well, it and I just went dark, Right. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't even get it. Whatever setting the washer's on, I throw all my clothes in and hit start. I don't get it. There's no point in
That's what men do. That's what we do. We're trying to get it clean from one to the other, and then that's it. And then when you use your dishwasher, don't use the pods, especially when you got a cheap dishwasher like apartments have. You got to use liquid. The pod will get stuck either in the chamber or in the drain. Like they don't dissolve well. So, little tidbit of information.
Also, a little tip.
Everyone can use. See what you can learn on this podcast.
It's the appliance podcast.
It's the appliance.
If you're ever in a pinch,
Let's change the name. It's Appliance Podcast.
I predict 1 million viewers.
if
In
you're
an
ever in
hour.
a pinch and you need to, you need a t-shirt or something like that, warm equals clean. So just throw it in the dryer for a little bit, gets those wrinkles out, good to go. You don't even need to throw it in the washer if you're in a pinch. Just warm equals clean. You're good to go.
That's extremely true. If you want to get fancy with it too, little spray bottle, water, spray down any stain spots, throw it in the dryer.
It takes those wrinkles right out. You're good to go.
No,
Yeah.
Quick smell.
Yeah.
you can just skip the wash.
That's good enough. That's good
Well,
enough. Throw it in the dryer.
Well, if we
That's what the dryer's
combine,
for.
if we combine your efforts, Liam wants to spray your armpits and just throw it in the dryer. that halfway through your day, you're gonna be foaming under the armpits. Be foam coming out because you still got the soap under your arms because all you're doing is drying it, you know. And then when you perspire, it gets wet, and then it's going suds up.
What are you talking about? There's no soap on the shirt. He's talking about spraying
Liam is
on it.
talking about
Really good.
spraying the dirt spots, and that's under your arms where your dirt spots are gonna be.
Liam, were you talking about spraying it with soap or spraying it with water?
I have no idea what's going on right now. I don't understand the conversation whatsoever.
I thought you were talking about spraying a t-shirt with a bottle of water, and then you throw it in the dryer, and that gets all the wrinkles.
Yeah, like a little spot cleaner. Like if there's a wrinkle spot, you spray
Spot
with
cleaner,
water.
not
Okay.
water.
So
No, it's water.
With soap or with water?
Just with water.
Like a spray and wash, little squirt. It's gonna have soap in it. 'Cause you
I
gotta-
don't think so. I think for
Yeah,
the
it's
record,
like-
you were talking about water.
The
You were
soap,
talking about spraying it with water.
yeah, the soap spray bottle's a little too advanced for what I was going for.
So you're just
a
gonna
little
get,
like
you're gonna
throw it
make
in
the
the dryer.
smell. You're gonna make the smell a little wet and moist too, to be added
That's
on
what-
top of
You
it.
that's
throw
what
it-
the
you throw
dryer
it in the
is for.
dryer. You dry it.
Yeah,
Uh,
what's not to get here? That's what the dryer's for.
And you get a little bit wet, that way it gets all the wrinkles out when you throw it in the dryer.
well, apparently, when you two go to a party at somebody's house, you don't even have to ring the doorbell. They just open it. You get there because they knew you were coming 30 feet away. They just open the door. You don't even have to ring the bell or knock on the door.
What are you
When
When
talking
the
about? Where did this come
the wind is blowing past you, your BO is coming right in the house, and they're opening the door for you. It must be Jeff and Liam. They're here. They're here. They're walking down the sidewalk now. Holy! So then they go and they open the door. You guys probably never knock on the door, do you? When you go to somebody's house, they already have it open.
Yeah, because everybody has a ring doorbell. Everybody knows it's coming
Yeah,
up to the door.
that's what they tell you.
Yeah.
It's the scent.
It was a good segment, guys.
Well, that completes our appliance segment module of this.
This has been the appliance, guys.
I think most people are going to tune out now because they came here for the appliance talk and now we're moving on.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's lost half the audience apparently.
All
We
of
had to
our
bring a
appliance
few
things are going to
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah, lost half the audience.
the
Now we're
appliance
down to one instead of two. Alright, so Jeff, I never got filled in. We didn't get filled in on your little Disney trip. So how did that go?
Oh, yeah. It was good. It was,
Start with the car trip. Let's start with the
Oh,
car
yeah.
trip. How'd that go?
yeah. So, we rented a van because we had, my wife's family in and her brothers and sisters and everything. So, we rented a van and we put the two car seats in the back. And I'm not kidding you, there was a sliver between the two car seats, probably this big, right? And I had to sit there. Because, it's incredible. It must be another global pandemic because my wife's entire family gets car sick and they couldn't possibly even look at the back.
Wait, so
me
there's
being
8 people in the front seat?
6 foot, 200 pounds, I got to sit all the way in the back because I'm the only one not affected by this terrible illness of car sickness. And, even though, my wife's brother and sister, they're in high school. And I'm like, and I grew up too, like, it was strictly by age who sat where. Like,
Yeah, right.
if I was 3 days older than you, I was sitting in the front seat, you were sitting in the back seat. It's just the way it is.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But now everybody gets too car sick, so they couldn't possibly sit in the back. So I had to sit. It's a 3-row deal, it was a big van, so I had to sit all the way in the back in between, my kids, and I had 0 room. And so 6 hours.
Well, so it was enjoyable. That's what you're trying to say.
yeah,
all
it
right.
was fantastic.
And were you able to stretch your legs out or your knees like in your
No,
face? Oh man, that's
no room. I was.
that's not a vacation.
It was. No, family vacations are not.
Next
vacations.
time the seating chart has to be prearranged for you to approve the trip.
I mean,
We're gonna have to cancel one of the family members because I'm gonna have to sit in a real seat.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Katie took what's the seasickness medicine?
Dramamine.
Dramamine, and she felt fine on the way there. So on the way back, she sat all the way in the back and just took Dramamine, and that's the way we did it.
So you drove back? Who drove back? You did?
Hello.
Oh! Hey! Hey, pull my door there, will you? and get the glass off the door so you're not listening to everything. We might be talking about you.
You can listen to it with the rest of our many fans when it comes out.
Yeah. Get in line. The long line. What were we talking about before we were interrupted?
Katie took some Dramamine and sat in the back, and then so I got to sit in the middle row this time.
Who's driving?
Had a lot more. Her dad.
Uh,
Yeah. He rented the van that he drove, but yeah, it's packed. And then Disneyland was great. Spent 4 days there. It was incredibly hot, and we were expecting to get rained on a lot, but it really only happened one day for like 20 minutes. It was like a torrential downpour, but then after that we were good to go. So.
Nice. So the girls enjoyed it?
Yeah, they had a blast.
Yeah.
And we did not do that ride.
Oh my God.
What's it called?
It's called like the Space Adventure from Hell or something. It's Blast Off to the Moon or something like that. I don't know. But
Isn't there one next to that one that does like the same thing too?
no, there's a NASCAR one next to it that's supposed to be really cool. So the one we were on, me and Andre, it was a shorter line. So I said, let's go here. It's shorter. I said, let's just do one ride while we're here.
Yeah.
Well, we actually did two because I never knew what was in that ball. We went up that ball.
Oh.
It was probably goofy. Me and Andre going up together. I thought it was gonna be more like a roller coaster. Nah, it's like for kids and stuff, Go real slow.
They make you hold hands, right?
I felt like it. It felt like that's what we had to do because it was all kids and kid related and went real slow, just showing you stuff. It's me and Andre, the 6'4" dude, and me. Our knees are both up on our face, and we're going. It's like we might as well have been sitting in the little kiddie spinny things, I mean, it was a joke. But anyway, I'm like, all right, let's go on one thing. He goes, yeah, I'll just do one thing. I wish I'd have picked the NASCAR. Damn. I was hurting. But, and the funny thing is, when I was talking to somebody about this recently, and Diana said that her and Taylor had gone there, and they were both going to go on that ride. They were in line, right? And then you're in line, it says, are you sure you want to do this? And it tells you, it asks you that like a million times. Are you sure you want to do this? It doesn't say that exactly, and it doesn't come out Italian like that. But it says if you're pregnant, if you get a hangnail, if you can't go on it. I didn't know. So I thought it was a simulator. That's what you would think, right? You sit in the thing, you just kind of go like this, you look at the TV screen, I just thought it was that. So then, anyway, I'll get back to that. But Diane and Taylor read it, and they're reading all those signs too, right? So they get to the last side, and they look at each other like, yeah, nah. So they didn't go on it. The last second, they got out. I'm like, oh, you guys, so lucky. So, but they need that instead of like signs saying like, yeah, you sure? And I feel like the sign laughs like that too. Are you really sure about this? Look at yourself in the mirror. And they should tell you like on the sign what it does really to lose gravity. I didn't know. I just thought it's a simulator, and then I don't know. They're gonna push our seats up and make us feel like we're floating or something, Oh no, you gotta go like an astronaut training session, man. You're going like a mofo, man, like a million miles an hour, like around the thing. I didn't know that. Because it was cool. Like your seat goes back like that, and you look up, you see the sky, and you see the launch pad right next to you. You know, like, oh, this is cool. And then we blast off. We're going in the sky. I'm like, this is cool. You know? Oh my god. And then, you know, 3/4 of the way through, I'm like, after that, we're stuck too. You're in a tight space too again. And we got two girls here we didn't know, me and then Andre on the end. I'm claustrophobic too, so I'm in between everybody, and you're crammed in there. Oh my god! I ain't feeling good, man. So, as soon as you started, there was no gravity. You broke into Earth, out of Earth's orbit, and you had no gravity. It was kind of cool, but I instantly got like wheezing. I was a little sick. So then I thought, man, I was just like, please, Lord, let's end this right now. Pull the plug. So, and then we get out, right? I look back at that thing and I see it's on a little track that goes a million miles an hour in a circle, and I can't go in a circle. That's it. And we were supposed to tour the world drinking beer, and I had to lay down on a picnic table for an hour and a half. So I was in between laying on the picnic table and going to the bathroom and back. Oh my God, hour and a half. Andre's like, you ready yet? Nah, I ain't ready. It's gonna be a while. So after that, I just toughed it out. Said, all right, let's start drinking. But I can't go on a circle. I can't even go on a merry-go-round. If you're on a merry-go-round, like sitting on a horse, you know, you got a kid with you or something. Hopefully, you got a kid with you. I'm like, huh?
You gotta sit on the bench. That's in there. There's always a bench beside a mirror.
I know. As a kid, I think, man, those people must not like excitement. I don't know. You got a horse, you can go up and down. But even that, like if I'm on that, I gotta focus on one thing over there, like off the merry-go-round, and then I'm watching it the whole way. You're spinning it around, then you turn your head around real quick, and you catch it on this side. You keep looking at it. Have you ever done that? Were you focused? Huh?
Yeah, I thought that was like a human experience.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Liam. It's just like, no.
On that one?
Like,
I can handle a merry-go-round. I can handle it. I could champ a merry-go-round no problem.
Sure?
Yeah, I've never done it on a merry-go-round. That's a little crazy. That's going like 3 miles an hour.
You're backtracking now, Liam. You're with me for a minute. Like, no.
Yeah, on like the crazy like coaster rides that go in a circle. If you go on those like a few too many times, yeah, that's like I've done that. But I've never once in my life done that in America. I've never been in a merry-go-round past the age of like 8, also. So I don't really know. But I've never done it in a merry-go-round.
Well, 10 years from now, you come back and we'll have this conversation and see if you're doing it then. When you're holding a kid. You're gonna be like, stop crying. I gotta look at that barn over there. What a good parent. The kid's like dangling off the horse. It's like you're looking at the barn. Oh my God. Well, so far this podcast is so informative that people are like, wow, the history on this thing is unbelievable.
Current historic.
I can't handle this merry-go-round. This is out of hand.
All right, I'm gonna give you a little. I'm just segueing here. So, we're done with me getting sick going in the circles. Apparently, you guys don't understand, but you guys, as soon as you go on something that goes in a circle again, you're at that age, you're gonna realize it. Anyway, let's dive into a little history. It's a little tidbit that maybe you guys have heard this. I don't know, but I found it fascinating. Actually, all the founding fathers. When the Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776. You know how old some of these people were?
Yeah, like 21.
Yeah. Oh, let's go with the old guy, George Washington. What do you think he was?
42.
44. Like, don't you picture these guys as like 65? You know, like all of them. You know?
Yeah,
like,
I feel like that's how they're always depicted.
Yeah, like James Monroe, 18. 18! 18!
John Adams was pretty young. He was, I guess, 20.
He was He was 40. John Adams was 40.
Oh, John was 40? Okay.
Thomas Jefferson was 33,
Yeah.
which is wild. I always thought he was older too, like George Washington.
How old was Madison?
25,
That's crazy.
isn't it? Alexander Hamilton was 21. Aaron Burr was 20. And James Monroe was 18. It's just that. This is when I read that, I couldn't believe it. It's like, it like kind of stopped me in my tracks. I just, because they, when they all got together for Congress and all that, they're all wearing those wigs, and all that. So they always probably appeared older than what they were too,
Yeah.
But I think you ever look at old time pictures? First off, nobody smiles, and then secondly, they all look old.
Yeah.
Even if they're like 16, they look like they're 49. I don't know what it is. It's a camera or.
And then we have founding fathers who are like 25, and then now all of Congress is on average 177 years old.
Yes, that's right.
You know,
Give or take a few years. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, everybody is so old.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the age requirements are older than the average founding father when the Declaration was
Yeah.
signed. It's like ridiculous.
35.
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it'd be 35 presidents at that time. Only Adams and Washington could have been president.
Crazy.
I mean, there's nobody else, like. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Well, if you guys want an even better history tidbit, have either one of you heard of Daniel Sickles?
No, not until you brought it up.
Yeah.
Dean sickle cell anemia. He was the one that identified sickle cell anemia.
No.
No?
No. What
Is
are
that
you talking about right now?
I thought you said sickles.
Yeah, Daniel
Yeah.
Sickles.
SI. Okay. It could
Yeah,
be
SICK.
sickle cell. It could have. Maybe he was the first one identified with sickle cell anemia. Sickles. You know what I mean? Like the people that discover like things. It's called that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No. Anyway.
Like the Pythagorean theorem. Joe Pythagorean is an Italian from the South Bronx.
Joe Pythagorean.
I can't think of an example right now, but there's millions of them out there.
Triangle. Hey.
Yeah. No, I know Joe Pythagorean. Yeah,
I forgot what we're talking about, but go ahead.
No, he was
Oh, sickle cell. Okay, go ahead.
Daniel Sickles.
Okay.
Right. So he was a Civil War general, and before the Civil War, he was a congressman. He was a U.S. representative representing New York, I think, the 3rd District of New York. So Daniel Sickles had a wife. Her name was Teresa Sickles, and they're living in Washington D.C. And the United
Well, first,
States.
I'm sorry, I mean to interrupt, but was the grandfather, did they call him Pop? Come on.
Pop Sickles.
You know they did. You know it. You know it. I'm
This
sorry,
is-
go ahead.
Did
I interrupt? Did I interrupt? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We're trying to have a serious podcast.
I am definitely serious about this conversation, but I had a question. That was all. I didn't know what they called the grandfather.
The interruption, dude.
Go ahead.
This isn't what the people tuned in for. Okay, they tuned in for highbrow comedy and historical facts. You're over here with pop songs.
I think we just gained another 300,000 because the first group of people are telling everybody.
Hey, did you guys hear this popsicles joke on this podcast? Holy smokes, it was good.
They talked about appliances for an hour.
That's pretty
Shit.
It's got to be good.
The appliance guys. That's so terrible. Okay,
All right, Jeff.
continue.
I'm sorry Liam interrupted you. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, anyways, they were living in Washington D.C. and the United States Attorney for D.C. Had an affair with his wife. He had an affair with Teresa, and his name was Philip Barton Key. And Liam, can you guess who Philip Barton Key was related to, who his father was.
Francis Scott Key.
Is your name Liam?
Oh, I thought he said. I thought he said. I
Gonna
didn't
go
hear
with
you say
Francis
it.
Scott.
You're trying to be a big guy on the podcast, trying to be cool.
No, I thought you
Continue
were
the
asking.
popular joke.
I'm like, it's the only key anybody knows. Nobody else knows the key. Like what? A key in F major? Like everybody knows only one key in the world. I wouldn't have known the guy you said.
I guess you don't know your own name, you know. Like,
Well, did
talk to somebody.
Liam? Did he say Liam?
Yes, he did.
Wait, you guys are both.
You're not even listening.
Listeners, please subscribe and comment down below.
Well, I think what happened was you blocked out when you said Liam. Your lips moved, but it didn't come across my ears.
I think you just heard a question. You just started answering it.
Yeah.
You know, I know this one. I need.
Now, I feel like the guy that crawled.
I know this answer.
I feel like I'm the guy that crawled out of the car now and said, "Oh, the white truck was in my lane."
Who hit me? Okay, well, that's correct, Liam. His dad is Francis Scott Key. So, anyways, he had an affair with Teresa Sickles.
That was the Francis's son, right? Okay.
Yeah, Francis Scott Key's son, his name is Philip Barton Key, and he is the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. And having an affair with Sickles' wife, Teresa. So Sickles is out for a walk, and he sees Philip Barton Key sitting there on a bench in Lafayette Square, right across the street from the White House. And he goes up to him, and he shoots him right there. Boom. Just right there. Kills him on the bench. He kills the U.S. Attorney for District of Columbia for having an affair with him. And, tons of witnesses and everything, and he is a sitting congressman.
Yeah.
So he goes to the United States Attorney.
Uh-oh. You just froze on us.
And he goes to his house and he tests. He's like, yeah, I saw the guy.
Start over. Your screen froze for a second. So,
My bad?
yeah, he shot him, and then what happened
All
after
right,
that?
Liam.
Yeah. Well, or hang on, don't start yet. Hang on.
I can see this is gonna break down right now.
Just had to check if we were recording. We are.
Oh, jeez.
What is this?
Oh my God.
Back. We're back. So he killed Philip Barton Key, and he goes to the United States Attorney's house in D.C. He's like, "Yep, I killed him in front of everybody. A bunch of people saw it, but he was having an affair with my wife." And so he's like, "All right," and so they arrest him, and he goes to jail. And he's a sitting congressman. Everybody likes this guy. He's from New York, and so they let him keep his personal weapon. And they used the jailer's apartment to house him. And all the politicians were coming to visit him after this event at the jailer's house, and that's where he was staying. And so he hired a bunch of prominent New York and Washington, D.C. lawyers to represent him. And they go to court. And he pleads not guilty due to temporary insanity. And he's acquitted of all charges, and is the first ever temporary insanity defense in the United States. Started it all.
So he got off.
And he got off, yeah. Then he went on to become a major general in the Union Army. And he went on to, so basically, he was one of the very few generals in the Union Army who didn't attend West Point. He was not a West Point guy, and he worked his way up very fast. He was very political minded. He was very like a political type officer in the army, and he went on to fight at the Battle of Gettysburg. So this is July 1863, and he took a position in the south of the Battle of Gettysburg, and he was supposed to, protect the main army from being flanked. And instead of, kind of going to the place where he was supposed to go, he kind of went a mile forward and kind of stretched his army a little bit thin. And to this day, historians are kind of back and forth on whether or not that disrupted the Confederate Army because they didn't think he was going to go that far forward and disrupted them, or he stretched his army out too thin and actually, while it disrupted the main Confederacy Army who was trying to outflank them, he took over 40% casualties to his army, to his regiment. So, they're kind of going back and forth to this day. But during Gettysburg, he got shot in the leg with a cannon, and he had to have it amputated on the battlefield. So when he got his leg amputated, he insisted on going back to DC, so they brought him back to DC, and he immediately started the campaign of, I'm a war hero, I'm actually the guy who helped save Gettysburg, like, I'm the man, basically.
Yeah.
And some other generals are like, you spread your arm out too thin, you got a lot of skill, things like that. So eventually, down the road, he was awarded, like 36 years later, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. And the leg that was amputated, the Surgeon General of the United States had like a standing call for like basically body parts that were wounded during war and things like that. And they put it in the United States, like kind of medical museum. And to this day, they have his leg, his shattered leg bone, in the museum. You can see it, like shattered in two different places. And
be cool if it still had the flesh on it.
yeah. Well, he actually went to the museum. He went to visit his leg on the anniversary of Gettysburg every year, and he was really upset with the museum at the way that they preserved his foot. So now it's just a leg bone. But yeah, he lived, until the early 1900s, until he was like in his 90s or something like that. So he went from killing his wife's, Francis Scott Key's son in broad daylight, acquitted due to temporary insanity, first time ever in the United States, first time the defense was used in the United States, to Civil War general, Medal of Honor recipient, congressman.
It's unbelievable.
The trial is crazy. I mean, it's temporary insanity, really. It's more like he was just like really pissed off.
Yeah, it was like. Yeah. And what ended up happening was he publicly forgave his wife, and there was more outrage over the fact that he forgave his wife for cheating on him than there was for him being acquitted of the murder. So,
yeah, that's kind of how twisted it was back then, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, obviously they came up with that. The attorneys and probably the politicians that liked him and they didn't want him to get in trouble. They came up with that defense, and they probably all agreed on, let's let this fly.
So there's some good attorneys right there.
Yeah.
Real good.
Yeah, and that's the case, man. If you get a good attorney, it makes a difference in this world. That's for sure. But yeah, it's a crazy story, though. I mean, it's wild that, so many things can happen to one person in one person's life, one
I
lifetime.
know. That's like Forrest Gump style connection to history from one guy that not a lot of people have heard of.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I was reading about that guy called Mad Jack Churchill, and he was like a lieutenant colonel, I think he was anyway, in the British Army during World War II.
Yeah.
And he uh, he would go into battle like armed with a long bow and like
Yeah.
a Scottish broadsword.
Yeah, wasn't he the last person to get a confirmed kill with a bow and arrow during war?
I believe he is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's just interesting, like uh, and there's a picture of him too, with the sword, running into the battlefield. Like, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, like knock all the lead out of the sky? It's coming at you. But yeah, I mean, he's the same dude that would play like bagpipes too, leading his men into war, into the battle. He'd be leading, playing bagpipes. Like, what an odd dude, So many odd characters, that it makes you wonder if, like, did they become odd because of the whole circumstances, or are they just always a little odd?
To segue from
Yeah.
when I heard about Sickles, I looked into him a little bit, and when I read about the uh, the leg that was amputated, so I went down a little rabbit hole, and
Oh God.
I'll give you a couple of body parts that were taken from famous figures and preserved. Uh,
Were they
so
preserved like like a mummy, like embalmed and the whole flesh and all? That's what I want to
Yeah, he
Uh,
really wants the flesh. You know,
yeah, the obsession
big
with the flesh is throwing me off.
flesh things, you know?
know. There
This
should
is
be some way to,
this will be a little fleshy. This one will be has some flesh. Uh, so Napoleon Bonaparte loses finally in Waterloo. He gets exiled for the second time, and then he doesn't come back after that one. He dies in 1821. Pretty much immediately after he dies, the doctor that was performing the post-death stuff that doctors do
hmm
almost immediately cuts his penis off. Immediately.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, and other
So he
limbs.
literally is his name. They take his bone apart. Okay, go ahead.
You're-
We just
yeah,
gained
you're-
we gained 1 million more listeners, guys. Go ahead, keep going.
It all came back. Yeah, so he and there's
What
a
they do with it? Smoke it?
there's
What
a
they do with it?
well there's a whole story. I'm getting to
Okay.
it.
He can't stop. He can't stop.
Believe it or not, they didn't smoke it. I hate to spoil it for you, but
Okay.
it was believed that the doctor, his name was Francois Antimarchi. Apparently, Napoleon had called him impotent like a bunch of times, and like didn't like him very much. So the theory is that Antimarchi finally got his revenge by cutting off
God.
Napoleon's penis after he
Oh,
died.
God. Who's
Pretty
impotent
sick,
now?
right? I mean, I guess there's like historians say like it probably didn't happen. Like his penis definitely got cut off, but it probably wasn't that doctor.
Dig him up.
Um,
Let's check it. Dig him up.
but basically, basically after that, it gets bought by like rich collectors and passed for like from between rich collector to rich collector for like decades, until eventually it ends up at a New York City museum, the French Art Museum in New York City, and like I think the 1920s or somewhere around there, and it's described as a piece of leather or shriveled eel. Uh,
That's what it looks like?
yeah, that's what it's described as 1 inch, and a shriveled
All
eel.
right, there's some shrinkage there, bro, over time.
Yeah.
It's not to be
Disperse the man, all right? You know, like,
a piece of leather. That's crazy.
And we got to remember who cut it off. He probably he said, let me cut it down a little small, so then when it gets passed around, people think he was so small he was impotent, like I was. It's more revenge. You make it look small. That's what I'm saying. Probably cut off the other 8 inches. Of course, the guy's only 10 inches tall. Apparently, he was a tripod. He was a short guy, wasn't he?
I think that's a misconception. People say he was super short, but like, I think he was like 5'9" or something like that. Which back then, that's
Yeah.
average.
He was like 5'7" to 5'9", and most people were around there. He was average to maybe like slightly under average, from what I know. I could be wrong, but
I think that's his enemies saying like, "Yo, he was super small."
yeah.
Could be.
I think it was like a British thing, like
Cowboys.
propaganda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, after the New York City Art Museum, it continues to get passed around, and then until eventually a urologist who, um, I guess was a rich urologist, he buys it for the equivalent of 15 grand today. It was something like $3,000 in 1977, I think, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And he keeps it until he dies. And his daughter has it now, modern day. And she's only let 10 people see it since then. And I guess now the people that have seen it are starting to debate if it's actually real. But that's where the description of 1 inch comes from. It's like very recently, modern day. So it's currently in the hands of a urologist's daughter. That's
Did
the whole
she?
history.
Hey, this is another million. This is another million coming up. Did she install batteries in it? I'm just asking. It's a possibility. Another million. That's another million.
Just thinking that we're gonna cut that.
All right.
But,
There's no edits. This is internet, man. This is us
unfortunately,
talking.
there are now.
We're just talking. We're just talking. Is it or is it not possible that could have happened? It's possible.
It's
It
not.
From the
is
sounds of it,
possible.
if the battery's too big, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it'd work.
No, you'd have to hook up a little device, coming out of the battery
You've given this
Make
some
it.
thought.
to make it do what it wants to do.
How much are you thinking about this?
Well, just came to mind,
I know.
actually.
Yeah, that quick, huh? Okay.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt, Liam. Jeff didn't mean it, but he did it anyway. Go ahead.
No, that was a great ending to the Napoleon penis story. That was great.
It was.
That's a great way to cap it off. I mean,
The-
that's what it is today. It's only 10 people who've seen it in like the modern era. It's urologist daughter owned. Just as a little plus to the Napoleon story, there's a famous utilitarian philosopher named Jeremy Bentham. His big thing was humans are only driven by pleasure and pain. Those are the only things that drive us.
Here we go.
Which is like he's one of the founding fathers of utilitarianism.
Linking story to your last story. Go ahead.
He, once he died, wanted his entire body to be saved. And he requested that they put him in a chair and that they roll him out at every like friend and family party in a chair
I love this guy. Go ahead.
amongst them. You can look up what his head looks like now. It's like one of the most like fucked up things I've ever seen. It looks terrible. He's like leathery and like no skin at all. But yeah, that's
So
just what he wanted.
His
Roll
weekend
down
at
to his
Bernie's.
chair.
Every weekend,
Yeah.
weekend at Bernie's.
Pretty much, he did it first. I wouldn't be surprised if they're inspired.
Now, who is this guy again? Like, when did he live?
I believe the 1800s.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the founding fathers of utilitarianism, which is the entire idea of like you're only driven by pleasure and pain. Just a weird dude. After he died, that's what he wanted to happen.
Wow. Did he think that was going to give people pleasure or pain? I mean, apparently he had a message there. I mean, like, if I show up at a party and I got a six-pack, I'm knocking on the door, then he comes rolling out. I'm rolling out because I'm not sticking around. Like, I mean, the parties had to be short. Like, maybe that was like, instead of turning the lights off at the bar, flip them get off, they roll out Joe, or what his name was. They just roll him out. Oh, apparently it's last call.
Whoever was in charge of that, when like he was on his deathbed and he told that to, he should have been like, "Yeah, I'll do that. Don't worry," do it." And then not have done like what? Who would
Well,
Put him in a grave.
You know?
well, back then they probably thought he'd have came back and haunted me or something.
Yeah, yes, that's
Believe in witchcraft or something.
that's what's up.
It was his next door neighbor who actually embalmed him and prepared him like that.
Oh, that's
He
great.
was a doctor and he was married to one of his family members or something, so he was related in some in-law way.
How did they preserve him? Like, with did they have embalming fluid back then, or I don't even know.
I'm sure they had some form of preservation.
Did they get out of brush and shellac them on the outside like you do? Like, did you guys ever hear the word shellac?
Yeah.
Shellac. Oh, okay, I didn't know if that was a law. Liam, have you?
I've heard it, but I
Probably
don't know
me
when
saying
use
it. But now it's not called shellac. It's called what's it called? What they put, like, if you make like some clay thing and then you put some stuff over to harden it, whatever. It's not shellac. It's called oh my god. Everybody out there, everybody, the millions that I've drawn into this podcast are probably saying it's this. You're so obvious.
every single comment.
Anyway,
To
enough of that.
cap off the story,
Yeah.
basically only his head survives, like makes it, and it
So
looks.
they roll his head out.
It didn't survive.
Well, yeah, nothing survived. I'm pretty sure only his head is left intact eventually.
So they just rolled the head out at parties after that?
No, at that point he ends up in the University Centre, London. So he's still there, and he looks like a leather football. Like, it's bad. He's just in like a glass container in the University Centre, London, and that's where he is still.
Wow. So now they got two parts as they're making Leatherman. They got both heads. Just throwing it out there. It's a fact. Two leatherheads. That's probably where Leatherhead came from too.
No, I don't think so.
The word Leatherhead.
I think you're way off.
Is Leatherhead even a word? It sounds like it's a word. Is it?
Leatherheads is old NFL football. They were the.
Oh yeah, the Leatherheads. Yeah, that's what they called the helmet. Or they call it a leather helmet, maybe. I feel like Leatherhead is a word. I think you're right. Thank you for supporting my thought. Anyway, okay. What other body parts are you gonna come up with? What else turned into leather?
There are more. Like, I know Mussolini's brain is still somewhere out there. I'm not sure where. I was gonna save a few more for the next podcast, and so I can look into them more and have
I like it.
more drawn out story.